Hey, today I am looking at the EcoZoom Versa rocket stove. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of the specifications right up front. I'll do that at the very end. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and go outside and fire this baby up. Alright guys, so I'm in the backyard with a lot of weeds and I got the EcoZoom out. So let me do some measurements here. The measurements say that they're at, and I'm trying to do this one-handed because just it wasn't working with my tripod. But from handle to handle, we're looking about 11.5 inches. If you're looking at just the top, you're looking at about 9.5. What it stands tall, let's see here, about 11.5 inches there tall. Right, so the top is cast iron right here, and so you can kind of see I've already fired it up, kind of check it out. I really liked it. It burns really efficiently. Pretty much everything burns out of it. There's really nothing but just ash left. And so it's got handles. The handles stay cool when you are when it's actually on, so that's pretty cool. Of course, it's not like completely cool. I mean, it's just a little warm, but definitely you're able to move it. So if we come down here just a little bit, you see that we have the stand, and this is for the wood. And so I'm going to move this back. We have two doors. This is for the air to be able to come in and out. You're able to control it, and then this is where the wood, the chamber goes. So what you would do is you're going to put the stand, the wood stand, so that you can close this door if you need to control the airflow. I'm not doing a very good job of keeping my camera steady. And of course this is going to stay open. This door is going to stay open to be able to leave the wood in there. So I'm going to go ahead and load this up. You can see my pile of wood there. I've got some paper I'm going to throw in there as well to get it started, and let's see what it can do. Alright, so I'm going to load see if I can do this with one hand. I doubt it, so excuse the camera work here. I'm going to go ahead and load up the wood, put some long pieces in there, and kind of see what we have down there. I'm going to throw some paper. This is actually an old, just a toilet paper roll I kind of tore up. I'm going to throw some other small pieces here to the top. Sorry about the camera work. I've gotten too used to being inside my office. And so one of the things that I realize is you want to load it up really well. I'm just going to grab everything, all the small pieces that I can. And I think that might be good. We'll kind of see how that goes. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and light it from the bottom. And see. I don't know if I can work the camera and to do this, so we'll see. I don't know. I didn't do a very good job, but we'll see what that'll do it. And again, I'm not really using anything other than just some paper cardboard. It looks like it's caught. Alright, so I'll spare you all the time for it to get going. We'll come right back. I mean, I should have kept the camera on because it didn't take any time at all to get going. That's pretty crazy. All right, so you can see it's going. We've got the draft, the door all the way open. Quick shot in there. And as the wood keeps burning, you can kind of see it coming out. As the wood's burning, you just keep pushing this wood in there. All right, so I'm about to go ahead and put a pot of water on. All right, as the wood's going, I wanted to just show off a nice little trick that I used to do when I was in Boy Scouts. We had our big pots where we would warm up water to wash our dishes and stuff like that. And you know, this stuff didn't stay out at the campground. It was stuff that we packed away in our big kitchen sets and stuff like that. So one of the things that we did was we would take dishwashing soap and put it all over. I'm going to go ahead and do that. All over our pots. And so when it would char, so I'm going to set this down. When it would char, it was easier to clean up. And you know, that was one of the things. If you don't care, if you're putting this, if you have a small, you know, I see a lot of people on YouTube and see their small little kits, and they put it right back into a, you know, a nice little. Hope I'm getting this in the camera. They put it back into a package and or you know, some kind of bag, and that's pretty much where it stays. But our stuff was, you know, going in and out, touching a bunch of stuff, and we didn't have, these were big tubs that we used to heat up water to wash dishes and stuff with, and so we didn't want it to get everything dirty, char everywhere. So we would do this, and it helped to clean it up and to save it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw this on. And I've got about 5 cups of water that I'm going to go ahead and add to that. And let me get, my cell phone out so I can see what time it is. And it's 11:53, and so we'll go from there. So I don't know if you can see that, but man, there's some bubbles already forming. I do have some ash floating up. That might be the pieces of cardboard that I put in there. I'm gonna go ahead and, so you can see how it's burning down very nicely. Love that crackling sound. Now if I had a lot to do, I probably would put, and I might still want to do that, might want to put another log in there or another piece of wood, nice size piece, so maybe like this piece right here. So I might do that. I'm going to try to do it. So again, the camera. Alright, so we'll see there and we'll come back. Alright, so one of the things that I wanted to show was the heat. See how hot things were getting. So I'm going to aim this at the cast iron top, and it's showing fluctuating 248, 250. Right? I'm going to aim it at the about the middle of the rocket stove, and you can see it is at 104. I mean, it topped out at 108, 113 there. I'm going to see if I can aim it at the handle. Let's see here. Okay, so check that out. I'm aiming it right at the handle. It's 68. It topped out at 70. That's pretty crazy. Let's see what the water is. The water's at 122. It needs to get a little bit hotter. I know I shouldn't be taking it off the heat, but I just want to kind of see what's in there. Look at that. Wow. A lot of ash. Alright, so we have a decent little boil now. Definitely hot enough to do any freeze dried. So it's 12:02. Not bad. What is that? About 9 minutes. And I kept taking the water off to look down the stove. It's definitely hot enough to be able to, you know, do some cooking. And again, that's 5 cups of water right there. A lot of the times when I'm doing stuff, I'm thinking about my family. I'm not just thinking about myself. And I think that's important because many preppers are preparing for their family. I want to say one thing. A lot of the times when I see people doing rocket stoves, they're pushing the sticks in very gently. I try to do that, and I just realized that it wasn't, and this wood's a little wet there. I just realized that it wasn't going in as easily, or at least I thought. So I was a little bit more forceful with it, and that made sure that the wood was all the way in there. So just FYI, a lot of the times you'll see people just kind of pushing it in like that. And so what I started doing is I just really started making sure that I was manhandling it in there. You can kind of see where it was before and then where it's at now. All right, so nice little boil there. All right, I want to show you another aspect of how to use this eco stove or a rocket stove. All right, so a while back I remember linking to a video on Prepper website where it was a village. There was like a little old lady who was cooking for, I guess it was the village. It was almost like a village rocket stove or something like that, I guess. And they had this nice size rocket stove, but they had this big sheet of metal and on it. And so she was using it all to cook, and she was moving things around as she needed heat. Now I tried to find a steel plate, maybe a 1/4 inch. I couldn't find one. So I was like, what's the next best thing? And I found this, or at least if I found it, it was a little bit more expensive, more than I wanted to pay for. So I'm like, what's the next best thing? And so there's a cast iron skillet grill. It's Lodge. I got it on Amazon for like 30 bucks. But this way, it will allow you to put more than one pot on the rocket stove and use that, because that cast iron is going to heat. I mean, of course, the middle of it is going to be a lot hotter, but it's going to make sure, you know, it's going to spread that heat evenly and eventually. But as long as you got the rocket stove, the middle is going to be the hottest. So this allows you to maybe put, you know, your boiling water. Maybe you have a kettle on for some coffee, or you know, a camping percolator, coffee maker, or whatever. You want to cook something else. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my gun to show you, or my infrared, my heat gun, to show you where the heat is on this cast iron skillet. Alright, so I'm going to aim it right at the middle, and you can see the middle is at topping out, I don't know if you can see that, around 331. It's right in the middle, and that's where the fire is going to be coming right up out of the rocket stove. Now let me go ahead and move it over here to the edge, and you can see that it's at 135, 130. I'm gonna hit the water again. The water's at 168, 167. Still steaming. It's not boiling anymore. So I think this is a nice little add-on. So if you are planning on using a rocket stove or the EcoZoom stove, rocket stove, then getting a cast iron skillet might work. I mean, if you have a steel plate laying around, definitely use that. But if not, this might be the next best thing here. So yeah, 367. And as we move over to the side, it's going to continue to heat up, because that, you know, the cast iron is going to take the heat and it's going to spread it out. But for a while, it's going to, you know, it's not going to be as hot as in the middle. The cool thing about this as well is when you're doing it after the fire goes out, even after the wood is done, the cast iron is going to stay warm for a while. So I definitely agree that the EcoZoom, you can build a rocket stove definitely, and other videos that I've seen, people that have compared home-built rocket stoves to something like the EcoZoom. They're as efficient, but they're not as light. So if you're talking about moving this around and stuff like this, this is it's a pretty good deal. And you know, this is pretty quality items, quality build, so it's going to last a while. All right, so let me hit the skillet one more time. Got it right in the middle. You see that 400. I'm going to go ahead and bring it over to the side. That 192. So you can see 194. So it is getting hotter and hotter, but just I really like the idea of having some kind of metal sheet or cast iron skillet or a grill to have on the top of that. Alright, I'm going to let the fire die out. I want to show you what it looks like after it finishes burning off. Alright, so just one more shot to show you where the cast iron, or how the cast iron is holding heat. You kind of see where the fire is there. You might be able to see a few little coals still going. But anyway, I just wanted to do this. So it's still, the skillet's still at 304 right in the middle. And let me go ahead and move it over to the side around 206. So even with the fire completely just about out, still holding some decent heat. So if you think about a time where resources are low, even wood, this would be a nice little setup. Alright, so the skillet was actually still warm to the touch, so I had to use some rags to get it off. But I wanted to show you what it looks like on the inside after everything kind of burns off. So there you go, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this review of the EcoZoom. I'm going to link to it in the show notes or into the description of this video. And then also I'm going to link to that Lodge skillet if that's something you might want. Alright, thanks for watching.